The Four Nation Face-Off roster reveal is only a mere 48 hours away. Roster submissions had to be completed today. They will be unveiled to the public coming up here on Wednesday. Today I reveal my final predictions for all four countries, Canada, the US, Sweden, and Finland, and who will be on their rosters, and that's coming up next. Welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we're going to do our final roster predictions for the upcoming Four Nation Face-Off tournament. I've done this exercise a few other times before. I made a few tweaks here based on player performances. Going down the stretch here, and I haven't done yet the Sweden and Finland roster. So today we're going to complete all four. I'm not going to spend too much time backing up my decisions here. I don't want to make this video too long, but here are my final thoughts and predictions on who are going to be on these four teams. The submissions are now done, so the obviously players likely know this is going to be revealed to the public on Wednesday. I'll be curious to see if there are any leaks or what have you that get out, but Wednesday's the big day, and of course, the NHL would know as of right now who's on these clubs. So let's get started. First, I'm going to do the European team since I haven't done them at all yet. Let's start with Team Sweden. Sweden, for the goaltenders, this one shouldn't be too difficult. They're going to have Linus Ullmark, Jacob Markstrom, and Philip Gustafsson. I'm not sure who gets the chance to run with the ball here. It's probably going to be Ullmark or Markstrom. Based on current season, it's difficult to say. Maybe they go to Markstrom, but either way, they're in good hands. They have some good goalies, and it wasn't too difficult, I didn't find, to kind of determine that. Looking at the Swedish blue line, obviously going to be anchored by Victor Hedman, Rasmus Dahlin. I got Gustav Forsling, of course, who was named as part of the original 6 members of the club back in the summer. Erik Karlsson's on this team as well. I know there's some that kind of think maybe he shouldn't be, but he's already been one of the confirmed names, so he's going to be there. We also have Mattias Ekholm and Rasmus Andersson rounding out your top 6. And then I've got Jonas Brodin on this club as well. They are going to have 23-man roster, so they can choose to carry whatever extra players they want in terms of a forward, a blue liner, goaltender, or what have you. Every team may go about it a different way. I'm going about this that they're going to carry 3 goalies and then 1 extra forward, 1 extra defenseman. Keep in mind as well, players that are injured can be replaced right up until the day of the tournament. Forward group for Sweden will be as follows. I'm going to have the lines here based on my projections to be Elias Pettersson, your top line center, with Philip Forsberg and William Nylander. I think that's a pretty solid line. Some of those names already confirmed to be on this club. Mika Zibanejad, Jesper Bratt, Lucas Raymond as your next batch of forwards. Then I have Joel Eriksson-Ek, Elias Lindholm, and Adrian Kempe, followed by William Karlsson, Fabian Zetterlund, and Rickard Rakell. Now, obviously, those lines may not be exact, but I think those are going to be your 12 forwards that are going to be with the club. Clearly, lots of great options there for the Swedes. Obviously, lots of guys who can play center as well, so it's not quite 100% clear on who's going to be the center and who will move over to the wing. But lots of great talent. I'm pretty confident that for the most part, I'll have majority of these players pretty accurate here. I think the odds are that a youngster like a William Eklund will most likely be on this roster as well, probably as the 13th forward to start, but you never know. Sometimes players in those roles can move up and grab a more substantial role throughout the tournament. Although this is a short tournament, there's not a lot of time, only a handful of games here, so whoever's hot will get to play, and whoever's cold will probably sit on the bench. Moving over now to Team Finland, the other European team in this tournament. Lots of great talent as well. The goaltenders, again, not too difficult, I don't think, to determine. They'll be led by Jussi Saros. I have no doubt he'll have the chance to probably be your starter, but Kevin Lankinen and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen are having good seasons as well, and certainly deserve to be on this team and deserve to have an opportunity to possibly get into game action here. So again, lots of great goaltenders for the Finns, and they're in great hands that way. On the back end, not one of the better blue lines, in my opinion, of this tournament, but they do have a decent amount of experience here. Your top pair is pretty solid with Esa Lindell and Miro Heiskanen. Then I feel your next 4 are likely going to be Nico Mikkola, Rasmus Ristolainen, Henry Jokiharju, and Yusuf Välimäki. Olli Mata has a shot, I think, to be on this team as well, but I would suspect if he is, he'll probably be your 7th defenseman. If there's one area that I think the Finns are a little weaker in, it is on the blue line. Up front to be led by Panthers captain Alexander Barkov as your top line center. I suspect he'll be flanked by a couple of Avalanche forwards, Mikko Rantanen and of course Arturi Lehkonen. Those two guys I think will complement Barkov extremely well. Your next line is likely going to be a combination of Roope Hintz, Teuvo Teravainen, and perhaps Mikael Granlund from the Sharks. Obviously, and this may not be a second line, just another combo here, because I think Sebastian Aho will definitely be playing a big role for this club and could very well be your number 2 center behind Barkov. With Barkov, Aho, Hintz, they're certainly deep down the middle for sure. I'd like to see Aho personally play with Patrick Laine. I know they had chances to play together when they were much younger, and I'd like to see if they can rekindle some of that. Maybe put them together with a line with Capo Kakko. So that's who I have. I have Aho, Laine, and Kakko, and they could very well easily turn out to be line 2. Anton Lundell from the Florida Panthers I have as being your next centerman with fellow Panther Luostarinen and Erik Haula. So certainly lots of depth in the forward group, lots of different combinations that we might see. Like I said, I don't expect to get all the line combinations right, but I'm hoping to be fairly accurate here with a high percentage of the forwards and blue liners on the roster. Now looking at Team USA, my USA projections are not going to be a whole lot different than we've seen before, but a few little changes. In goals, the same. Connor Hellebuyck will lead the way and probably get every opportunity to run with the ball. But Jake Ottinger and Jeremy Swayman definitely deserve to be on this team. I do wonder about Thatcher Demko. I mean, right now he hasn't played this year, hasn't been healthy, dealing with a knee issue. I wonder if that would keep them off. But I mean, if he was healthy and playing, I think he'd have a good chance to be on this team. So we'll see. And Jeremy Swayman's numbers in Boston this year haven't exactly been as stellar as we're used to. So clearly, Swayman and Ullmark were great together. They're kind of not doing quite as well apart, although Ullmark has been much better as of late and starting to settle into his new team. But we'll see where that goes. I'm not sure if Demko is going to be considered, but otherwise it's they have a wealth of goaltending there in Team USA. On the back end, we know at least 3 of the blue liners. They're already confirmed with Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy, and Adam Fox. I think it's a no-brainer that Jacob Slavin's there, likely on the second pair. Probably the best, if not one of the best defensive defensemen in the NHL. I think guys like Zach Werenski, Brock Faber will have a chance to be on your third pair. Noah Hannafin, I think, will be in the mix as well and might be your, possibly your number 7 defenseman, but still, that's a pretty deep blue line as well here. Up front, I'm going to go with Austin Matthews, who of course we know is already on this team, along with Jack Eichel. They will be your top 2 centers. We also know Matthew Tkachuk's been confirmed. So I think Matthew Tkachuk probably has a good chance to play with Matthews. I think they'll probably make one of the duos here on your top line. And one change that I did make based on performance and based on how all the other players are doing here, I think Matthews might be flanked on the other side by another, member here from the Arizona, formerly of Arizona, Clayton Keller, who of course Matthews knows quite well. I think so. I'm going with Keller, Matthews, and Tkachuk on that top line. I think you get a lot of grit, you got speed, and you got the shooting ability of Matthews. That would be a lethal line here for Team USA. On your line 2, of course, with Jack Eichel, I'm giving him a couple of snipers in Kyle Connor and Jake Gensel. I think they would complement Eichel extremely well and make a great second line. Third line, which is, if you want to call it that, because to me they very well could be the second line as well, but I'm putting Jack Hughes in the middle between Brady Tkachuk and Matt Boldy. You've got the silky smooth hands and skating of Jack Hughes, the power and grit, and obviously a finishing ability from Brady Tkachuk. And then you've got Matt Boldy as well, who can contribute and shoot as well. So to me, that makes a great combination. On your last line, which is going to probably be asked to kill penalties, good defensive matchups. We're going with Dylan Larkin at center, flanked by JT Miller and Tage Thompson. Now, I did leave off Cole Caulfield out of the main lineup, but I am putting Cole Caulfield on this team. I think he's been too good and scored too much this year to not really be considered. I do think that there's a lot of good options for Team USA, and I'm not sure that he's going to be in the regular 12 rotation, but at the very least, he's got to be on this team. I think he's earned his way. So I have him down as the 13th forward, but I think he'll, if given even any chance to get much ice time, he'll definitely thrive and make somebody else sit in his absence for sure. Now, last but not least, Team Canada don't have a lot of changes from the last time around, but goaltenders, we are going with Jordan Binnington, Aiden Hill, and Logan Thompson. There was a lot of debate about Joey Decord. We got confirmation from Elliot Friedman that Decord is not eligible. He does have Canadian citizenship. That's not the problem. Is that he just never taken the time to get a Canadian passport. So right now, if he wants to take the time to go through that process and get one, and he has it in time for the tournament, and one of these other goalies are injured, he could be an injury replacement. Or if he goes through that process before the following year's Olympic tournament, he could be considered for that squad as well. On the blue line, of course, we're going to go on pairs, which I think makes a lot of sense. I think you're going to have Cale Makar, Devon Taves, and then another one from Vegas with Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo. I think your third pair is, I think Josh Morrissey is the one name that I feel confident is going to be on that third pair. I think you're either going to see Evan Bouchard, possibly. I do wonder about Chris Tanev, but not completely sold. And I think Travis Sanheim has a really good chance to be on this team here as well from the Philadelphia Flyers. So not sure exactly how they're going to do it. I think Morrissey, Bouchard makes up your third pair, and either Sanheim or Tanev will be your extra defenseman. I got a feeling they're going with Sanheim here, but that's just my gut feeling. Up front, obviously we know some of these players that are on this team, such as McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, Marchand, and I think you're going to see a top line of Connor McDavid with Mark Scheifele and Mitch Marner. I think that could be a really interesting line. Obviously, you've got a bit of everything there. The playmaking of Marner, the speed of McDavid, and playmaking and scoring of Scheifele. I think they could make a great trio there. Line 2, I think you're going to see a little bit of Nova Scotia with Sidney Crosby paired with Nathan McKinnon and Brad Marchand. Now, hard to say. I'm not sure if Sid or Nate will be the center, but at the end of the day, I think Crosby and Marchand have played together a lot in the past, so it makes sense to put them together again. And I wasn't quite sure how McKinnon was going to slot into this lineup. He could easily play on the flank with McDavid too, because he has the speed to keep up with them and the finishing ability. But they may want to divide that speed up to make sure that there's, elite speed on multiple lines here. So that's what I would do, at least to start. Your third line I have is Braden Point, who we also know is confirmed to be on this team, with Sam Reinhart and Mark Stone, assuming Stone is healthy, of course. And then I have a fourth line of Anthony Cirelli, Brandon Hagel, and Travis Konechny. Konechny, Hagel, and Cirelli, I think, would be a pain in the butt to play against and solid, responsible at both ends of the ice. I do have Connor Bedard being your 13th forward. I know he's had his struggles this year, but he's a really talented kid, and I think they need to get him some experience playing with these elite level talented players for the Olympics. I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to give a sniff here to Macklin Celebrini, who's been terrific as well. So could he be in that spot instead? Maybe, but with Bedard being just a bit older, I do wonder if he gets the nudge there. But one of those two kids, I do kind of wonder about a guy like Robert Thomas, Alexis Lafreniere. But based on, chemistry and what kind of players you need, I think the roster that I went with here is pretty accurate. The fourth line is the one for me that's most, kind of interchangeable. I wouldn't be shocked if Robert Thomas was there instead of one of those three between Hagel, Cirelli, and Konechny. That's a real possibility, but I'm not completely sold Lafreniere gets on this team. And I said I do wonder, but guys like Lafreniere, Bedard, Celebrini, they are the future for Canadian hockey and future international tournaments. You do need to get these guys involved in some capacity, so be curious to see how they go about things. But I think Bedard goes as the 13th forward for now. So let me know what your thoughts are, my roster projections, who you think will be on it. And of course, we'll have a video on Wednesday once we have the confirmation and results announced here on who will be confirmed to be on the Four Nations rosters. Let me know your thoughts on my predictions in the comments, and we'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.